It was a measured response to a need to provide clarity for one of the most significant companies in the digital economy today and in the wider economy as well. And this comes at a time when there are heightened tensions, not just around tech, not just around big business, but also fundamental geopolitical questions about the relationship between US companies and the Chinese economy.
Did you actually get any answers though? I mean, did you get any factual evidence of what they're going to do apart from, as Elizabeth was saying earlier, just a bit of political posturing?
Yes, there was no clarity there, but did we really expect there to be any definitive explanation? I mean, Google has been called the black box of data in the past, and this is almost a verbalization of that position.
Now, Tim, when we look at 2018, I mean, for me, this is a year of really the year where regulators started honing in on these big tech companies. We saw it with Facebook, obviously because of Cambridge Analytica, but since then, the microscope has really been on these tech companies, and going forward, there's no signs of it abating. The language coming out of the senators yesterday was very incendiary as well. My question to you is, from the antitrust side of things, isn't there an element of there will always be scrutiny on these companies simply because they are so big and they've amassed such a big critical mass that they will be under the eye of the regulators simply because they have access to so much user information that many people willingly give up in the first place?
Absolutely. This is the start of this process. We're not reaching peak regulation. We're absolutely at the start of this process. Right now, the general public is still not cognizant of the implications of having their data monetized for free by these big multinational corporations. Right now, it's regulators who are struggling to understand the ramifications themselves. When they become more aware of that, we will see much greater scrutiny of these big, indispensable companies in our everyday lives.
And Elizabeth, it's not just user data privacy concerns here, it's also filtering out misinformation, bad content, and what their approach is to really attacking it from an algorithm perspective as well. This is one of the issues that came up with the Google search function in China. So what is your take on what we heard on the testimony yesterday when it comes to those aspects?
That's right. The hearing yesterday was very largely focused on this issue of transparency and political bias, and one kind of point that Republican lawmakers made time and time again was that Google is manipulating its search results to stifle some of those conservative opinions. Now, Sundar Pichai, of course, denying that that's the case, saying these are algorithms that are out of human control when they're programmed. But, you know, there's a lot of uncertainty still that remains about how much Google does actually control when it comes to programming the algorithms. There weren't very specific questions asked, so he didn't really have to give specific answers. And that's one of the problems when you have these lawmakers who don't seem to have expertise in this field. They're out there to get their own voices heard, and that's kind of the main point versus getting information about the policy that's happening.
Now, CNBC just held the East Tech West conference a couple weeks back, and from there we heard from a number of tech leaders that if you don't have a presence in China, a major presence, you're not going to be a dominant force in the new world. But yesterday we heard once again about the pressure that Google is facing about their efforts to relaunch in China. So how do you reconcile that? How do you be a tech player and play in China but play within their rules? Elizabeth, or either of you, please feel free to weigh in.
So I would make the observation that competing in China is like boxing with one hand tied behind your back. It's not a level playing field for non-Chinese operators. And Chinese operators have to be cognizant of the severe regulatory framework which they work in. So it's a huge market, very difficult to ignore, but extremely challenging for non-Chinese tech players to operate in.
Hi, I'm Joanna Bersecci, and thank you for watching. You can check out more of our videos by clicking on the boxes on the screen. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more from CNBC International. Thank you for watching.